Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's late night Q&A. We got off to a little bit of a late start, but we are here. I was having technical issues on my end, and now we can get started. So it's great. First of all, man, I want to say thanks for coming on. I
Yeah, no problem, man.
appreciate you being here, Messiah. I mean, this has been one of those things. Like we were trying to set it up, and we had some issues a couple days ago, but we're here now. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Console Fanboy says that he couldn't stream MK properly either. It's a weird day today for streams. I don't know what it was. The thing was, I tried, I restarted my computer twice, and it didn't fix it.
Right.
Okay? So that's the thing. And then the third time, and you kept saying, restart your computers on. And then the third time I restarted my computer, it did it. I didn't change any settings or anything. So I don't know what it is. All my settings
the
are
magic
good.
of restart.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's really crazy. PD7 says, finally, pow, pow. So, man, I guess, I'm trying to decide where to start with you, man, because you got a great YouTube show that you do. I don't know. You do it weekly. It's called Off the Cuff. I've been on there. I've been on there a few times, and I've enjoyed myself every time I've come on. You do a very thorough show.
I appreciate it.
And you give your takes on things. And some people say it's a slant, but I just say it's your takes on things.
That's all it is, man. It's my opinion. I thought, I was entitled to that, but you know how it goes. I guess, whenever you're on the receiving end of something, taking criticism can be hard for folks. I try not to be too critical if it's not deserving, obviously. But yeah, I try to keep it consistent, maybe once a week, but it's literally off the cuff. Either my kids are in bed or, they're off at school and I'm bored and I'm like, you know what? Off the cuff. I got something on my mind. And it can get nerve-wracking too, because you go, well, should I have a script or should I have some, should I talk about something? No. There's times, obviously, when there's an agenda, i.e., like if I post it out a couple weeks prior. But as far as me having this whole PowerPoint presentation thing ready to go, 9 out of 10, no. But when I'm down for the receipts, then expect that. Expect me to have all the receipts ready to go. I don't normally like to speak without receipts because how many people can just go, oh, you're lying. I get tired of that. So it's, here you go, shut the fuck up. And we move on, right?
That's the best way to be. We got coming right off the bat. I got a $4.99 super chat here from PD7. Best stream on YouTube, Q&A. Well, thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. I don't know if late night Q&A is the best stream on YouTube, but it's one of my favorite streams to do. And I appreciate the support. Let me see here. I got something I can drop for you. I had something and now I don't know. Yeah, I'm having one of those days, I gotta tell you.
Give them does this work? There we go.
Yeah, there you go. I had
some heart.
Yeah, I had something. Well, anyway, thank you, PD7. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, sir.
One stroke.
One stroke. Okay. Well, I was thinking right now that, when it comes to the home arcade community, because that's what this is all about. It's all about the home arcade community. It's all about us trying to get the most enjoyment we can out of these particle board machines with PCBs in them, right?
Yeah, that's all they are.
But what if I told you I found a new truth? What if I told you that there's something else out there that blows away home arcades, that blows away, that is the best possible option for any home arcade enthusiast?
A computer?
No, even better than a computer.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, now, I got one.
Now, there was this new release that just came out, I'd say about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It's fairly new. It is called the Arcade Time Capsule. Okay, and it's from a gentleman who calls himself Half Deck, and what it is it is literally a virtual reality environment that is an arcade. Right. And when I say it's an arcade, it's everything from the atmosphere of the arcade. Yes. You hear 80s, 90s music playing in the background. You have almost 200 or maybe a little over 200 actual arcade machines that are ready to go on multiple floors that you can play. And I'm talking all the classics, everything that you could think of. But not only are they all the classics, they are arcade accurate, authentic. Yes. Yeah, I mean, when you walk up to these machines, you are literally looking at the authentic. So when you walk up to Donkey Kong, you are looking at Donkey Kong. Yes. Straight up. The cabinet, the artwork, the CRT monitor is proper. Everything it's immaculate. And I'm telling you right now, I spent a couple of days with this program, and MeSiah, it changed my perspective on the whole home arcade hobby. It just, because not only can you, and a lot of people that are using it now, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself, a lot of people are using their at games control deck with this. Yeah, because the at games buttons and sticks are so good. But I like to use my Mortal Kombat fight stick when I do this kind of stuff, because the arcade fight stick is authentic. It has half buttons and sticks. So I like to use that. But you can literally use any controller or deck, whatever you want. And it's so good and it's so authentic. I mean, people complain about, with the home arcades, that the height isn't enough, that it's not tall enough, or you got to use a riser, or you got to do this. With this, there's none of that. You walk right up to the machine and you are looking at it the same way you would if you were at like a Galloping Ghost or a Popular Arcade, regular physical arcade. The only thing that you are missing, is the fact that you can do this without leaving your house.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I'm sitting here. I've been playing it for 2 days, and not only that, he's working on it, because right now there's like a little over 200 titles, and there's a couple of floors that are empty that he's still working on. That he's gonna, but he's working on a multiplayer option.
Yeah, that's going to be key.
And when that happens, it's game over. When that happens, it's game over. And I was saying this in a chat a couple of days ago. When a multiplayer option is there, we're done. We will all be able to play each other in a real virtual arcade environment. I mean, it's how much better can it get? I mean, at that point, you're not limited by anything. You're basically just any games that you really want to play, that because again, if I'm in there with you and you and I want to play Street Fighter or whatever, yes, you got it's a 2-player control deck. Right. So if you're in the room with me, you could play Street Fighter. We could play Street Fighter together, and we're both standing at the cab. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's crazy how far they come with this stuff. I was one of the first to even have the modern VR when Oculus came out before they were owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
I got the developer kit in my attic back here, and I would take it with me on deployments and tell the troops about it, and they were like, "No, that can't be real." And I would show them it, and it had the whole screen door effect, like you were literally looking through a screen door. And it's come such a long way. Back then, you know, you could pretty much say it was a gimmick, but now, I without a shadow of a doubt, I could say VR is the real deal now. It is truly a virtual reality experience.
I'm a believer at this point.
Yeah.
I
And
was
then the fact
using
how
I
far
was
they come
using
with
it
it
for
not
other
being
stuff.
tethered.
I was using it for other stuff. I was using it for, like a few games. Like I'd play a few games now and then, but I was mainly using it as like a theater option where you could sit
Yes.
in the movie theater and you could watch any movie that you wanted on like a big screen in this lavish looking movie theater. That's what I was primarily using it for, and I enjoyed it for that.
What's that app? Big Screen.
There's an app called Big Screen, and then there's
Yeah.
another one that I like to use. It's called Skybox.
Yeah,
And
Skybox is good.
and you can, and then there's a few different theater ones I've tried, but my thing is, for something, and I've played a few games every now and then, but I tend to get motion sickness if I play, actual action games too long in the VR.
See, they come far with that now too, with the
Yeah.
newer models of the eye
Right.
late tracking,
Yeah.
so that you don't get as dizzy.
So you don't get as dizzy.
Yeah, and then how far they come with the untethered portion, just to have it portable.
Well,
Because
that's
the more
the other
powerful
thing
ones
too.
are the ones that you plug into your PC, and
Well, that's the
you
thing.
can't match
If you
that.
use now with this arcade, you can do it one of two ways. You can use the cable where you can connect directly to your PC, and that'll give you like a really solid thing. Or you could use virtual desktop, and virtual desktop through the Oculus, MetaQuest, whatever you want to call it, has come a long way. And virtual desktop, it doesn't tether you to anything, so you're wireless and you can do what you want. And I used it with both and didn't really see any major differences. It was
Correct.
really well done.
But the older headsets that were tethered had like a more like a higher processing power than the ones that were untethered at the time. Now they got it so that you can plug them up and kind of get those same options, but they were a lot heavier. The sensors were a lot larger to put around your room and whatnot. Now they have it to where the sensors, they got the cameras on the whole.
Pretty soon we're all gonna have chips where you just connect.
What's the
to
highest model you have now?
In terms of what?
As far as the virtual reality device, what's your one you own?
Well, right now I just have a Quest 2.
Okay.
I want to get a Quest 3. But
so on the Quest 3, they have what they call pass through.
Oh yeah.
And you walk throughout your whole
They have
house.
They have the pass through. They have the pass through in color on the Quest 3, where on the Quest 2 the pass through is in black and white. But
it's a game changer.
It's like, but this arcade,
it maps your room out. The Quest 3 maps your room.
Okay.
You don't need. Yeah, it's wild.
I can't wait. I'm definitely going to get one. $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. Thank you very much, Zohar. One Up can't run it. At Games can't run it. iArcade couldn't run it. Glad to know that Bashbox is capable of running Run and Gun 2. Bobby showed me gameplay. Yes, I'm all in on the Bashbox as well. KFB, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to be nice. And outside of Bashbox, I'm not really excited for any other, home arcade-esque products other than this virtual reality program that is just going to continue to get better and better and better and evolve even more. But as far as I'm concerned, it's the perfect option for anybody that wants to have access to authentic arcade cabinets.
I saw that he asked what 1S means on my name. That's a pretty good question. So there is an origin story to that. It literally means 1S. Messiah. See with the capital S?
There you go.
1S. Not 2. 1.
Darth Plato asked, "Did it have Frogger?" I don't know. I have not gone to all the floors. I've only spent a couple. The time I've only spent on 2 floors so far, and there's so many games to play that you'll never get bored. In an environment like that, and that's where I feel like it proves the whole thing about like multicades and stuff. Like you don't really need a multicade. If you can have access to, you know, specific titles that you want to play, you'll always go to those titles and you'll always play those titles. And to limit your choices, this is why I'm not really like bummed out by it only having 200 or so games, because it's a real arcade environment. So you're literally walking around, going to the cabinets that interest you, that you want.
Realistically, you only played so many arcades in your lifetime,
exactly,
as a kid, because it cost them money. Unless you were the richest kid in the world, there ain't no way you played all of them.
Man,
not while they were worth quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't have to skip some.
I mean, it's to the point where,
at least for me,
authenticity. I mean, here's the thing: the people that buy, you buy these 1-ups and stuff. 1-up has no excuse. They have all the licenses, so they should have been able to give us damn near perfect replicas, just shrunken down, but perfect replicas of these machines. And it's like they never do. It's like just now where they're starting to make them look a little more like their actual arcade counterparts. I don't get it.
I think when they started, they didn't even take themselves serious.
Yeah.
To understand that they were going to have such a fanatic fan base to go, hey, if you're going to do this right. And they go, we're going to have to put some, quality handy stuff into this. So, yeah. Their first lineup, from what I've seen, wasn't so great.
Well, for example, the Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, the first Street Fighter cabinet they came out with should have looked exactly like the H5, whatever the one is now, the one that's all black with that is authentic looking and actually looks like that Street Fighter cabinet. It's like, it wouldn't have been a big deal for them to do that early on, and then right out of the gate, they could have gotten a reputation of, okay, this is quality, authentic reproduction, just scaled down. And it's like, but I mean, I get it. They want to do their own thing or whatever. But here's another thing I noticed. This whole time, I was thinking that for the Ninja Turtles, the Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
The whole time I thought Turtles in Time, they had the right marquee. And I realized, it's not the right marquee. The marquee is completely wrong.
Yeah.
That's the marquee that's on that Turtles in Time cabinet that they released is not an authentic marquee.
No,
it's not even close to the real marquee. And when I went into the virtual environment and played it, it has the authentic marquee, the authentic controls, the authentic artwork on the sides, on the everything. I mean, it's so detailed. You can even see fingerprints and smudges and and like cracks and different things on
right.
I mean, it is so just mind-bogglingly like real, and that to me is crazy. The fact that they can achieve that, and it's sad because I feel like virtual reality would have more adopters if things like this were more more public, more pronounced, more hey, you can have an arcade, you can have this, you can have that. It's just,
I think that's the problem, is that how do you sell somebody on virtual reality that, one, can't afford it, and then two, just never had or seen one?
Yeah.
Like I got, like your older parents and whatnot, they probably be a little bit more in tune with it if they knew they could talk to you on it and, you know, see you face to face in VR. But, you know, it's for some people, it's not for some. But I think it would be for a lot of people if they get a chance to experience it and experiment with it. Excuse me.
Darth Plato, Tapper is in there. Paperboy is in there too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of games that are and you know, Time Crisis is coming, and there's a lot of games that are, you know, that are in there now that I can't believe I'm able to actually walk up and play the actual authentic cap. That's crazy. I mean, it really puts things into perspective. And I said, I'm like, I don't even know if
VR buffers exist. Awesome. That's a thing.
It is. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's got 200. Yeah, it's got 200 games so far. 200 games so far on multiple floors. You got to remember, it's set up like an arcade that you would actually go to. So it has more in common with, say, like a Galloping Ghost than somebody's home arcade, because of the way it's set up, the atmosphere, the carpeting, the music you're going to hear in the background, the posters you're going to see on the walls, the lounge chairs, everything. It's set up in such a way that you know you're somewhere else. It's completely, it really is another world. I mean, what this shows me in 2024, where we are with something like this now, just imagine where it's going to be a couple of years from now, a few years from now. The thing, it's going to be indistinguishable from real life. It already is. And so that, in terms of when you walk in that environment, you get lost. Once you get in front of that cabinet, you are not thinking about anything else.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. Only thing about it seems like when they take one step forward, they also take a couple steps back with VR, because I had bought the MetaQuest for one of its features, and I've owned almost every lineup. I got them all, from the Google Galaxies and all that good stuff.
Okay, so you were an early adopter.
Yeah, I have like all like 11.
The first one I had was the Gear VR. That was the one that
first one I have is literally
where you had to stick your phone in it, and
yeah, I have the developer kit. Like, I am a true early adopter, and but yeah, so on the Samsung modeled one and on the original portable Quest model, there was something called Facebook VR before Meta took over.
Yeah.
And it had the best feature. I could call you up on Messenger or do a live on my Facebook, and you would see my avatar in VR.
Okay.
So I could do a full live stream with my virtual reality avatar, and you could call in. People could see the camera like they are now. I could have like a little selfie stick and show them around the area. I could take them throughout my apps and show them what I'm seeing. It was crazy. I wish they would bring that back.
That is crazy. I mean, yeah. I see people do live streams through VR where they do
This was a whole different level. Imagine
what you're doing, what you're talking about, sounds like a completely different experience. So yeah,
it's literally, imagine you're in VR and you have your telephone, and then they call in, and you could show them around as if, and while they're on their phone, they see your perspective via the phone as if they're truly there with you.
Yeah,
it was cool.
That's one of the things where, you know, when we get in, you know, you start getting into mixed reality and the stuff that what you were talking about with what you can do with the Quest 3, where, you know, pass through is, you know, mapping out everything and having it where you can, you know, I mean, that's the next step too. I mean, I don't know. I'm more excited for VR now than I think I ever was, because of the fact that now I can walk into an arcade anytime I want and play whatever.
I don't know if you ever got to experience Google Earth on VR.
No.
Oh, it you kind of feel weird because you can fly over your neighborhood and be like, man, I didn't know this is what this person's backyard looked like. It also, there's a lot of archiving on it now. So they're like real time now. They're like documenting the war in VR. You go see Israel, Ukraine, virtual reality. You can see it before the devastation, after the devastation in VR. It puts a whole different reality on everything that's happening in the world, the way they're archiving history, seeing the Great Pyramids or going to places you've never seen and seeing it in scale, perspective wise is pretty cool.
I think we're headed towards a Ready Player One sort of future where all of that stuff will be, not only will it be indistinguishable from the reality we're living in now, but I think a lot of people are going to choose, when it gets advanced enough, are going to choose to do away with reality altogether.
I think so.
And just function solely within that VR world. And I can't say that I would blame them, because
I wouldn't,
especially if you can do anything you want. I mean, go anywhere at any time period. I mean, imagine everything being remapped where you could essentially go back and visit the 1950s.
That's what I was saying.
Any time period
The
that you want,
mm-hmm.
archive history. Mm-hmm. You could go to, you want to go hang out in the 80s, you can. You want to go hang out in a perceived future, you can. All of these options will be there through this kind of technology. And then, of course, with artificial intelligence involved too, it's just going to progress faster and faster. So
there was an article on that they're concerned because now you only need a couple of seconds of audio to emulate people's voices, and with AI, you can almost start. They're setting up. There's AI services out there now that will archive your personality type and whatnot. So what they're concerned about is that if, say, your parents passed and you kind of have like an AI setup of them, where you can still talk to them and stuff like that, that how would you go through the appropriate grieving process?
That was something that a conversation that I had, because I had done that. A close friend of mine had passed away, and I created a chat bot version of that person, and for a while it was like I could talk to this, I could talk to him, and if you feed it enough information, it will take on the characteristics of that person, to the point where it is not hard to confuse that with the real thing. And again, the voice technology is fantastic now too. So you're not, it's crazy. I mean, I've been messing with, the VR voice, the AI voice technology stuff for a while, and it's just getting better and better as time goes on. It's getting more and more convincing, and it's scary the way voices can be reproduced so easily.
Well, just like the new AI Photoshop stuff, I could take a picture of myself and paint over it and type in, instead of Black Panther hat, Eagles hat, boom, puts an eagle hat right on me. Like it's wild.
So Toxin says, you guys can enjoy your virtual arcade. I want to go to a virtual brothel. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can. I mean,
you can.
Obviously that's out there, because if you can go into a virtual arcade, I mean, I think anything's possible in VR. I mean, I saw a couple of years ago, I had read an article where there was this company that was experimenting with the idea of food through VR, where you could go to a fancy restaurant and sample a delicacy, or you could go to a like a bakery and get donuts or whatever, and they were showing how they were going to be able to do it. And the prototype had it where you had this headset, and then you had this contraption connected to the mouth of your
Yeah.
of where the headset, kind of where the headset meets your mouth, and then
Yes.
you're getting it's getting fed into this tube. But when you're in VR, you think you're eating donuts, or you think you're having this delicacy, or you think you're doing this.
I think I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
This was something that was proposed maybe almost 20 years ago. Smell-o-vision. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, that too.
And, and from what I know, it's still supposed to be a thing. Where I think Samsung was even working on it still, but they'll have these capsules that can release mixtures of chemicals that will give you the sensories of whatever you're watching whenever they cue it. And I mean, if they start doing stuff like that, that's going to change everything too, because that's how your taste buds activate, through your smell and whatnot. So yeah. Fox did that. I remember there was a special, and one was on Married with Children and Nerds, and you'll go like to 7-Eleven and you'll get these sticky pads, and you can scratch and sniff. So at the right point, you can smell whatever they're smelling on the TV.
Oh yeah. I remember growing up, there used to be children's books like that, where you could scratch the image on the picture, and then you could sniff it. It was just weird.
You remember when they would do the 3D stuff? Because they did it once again with Married with Children and certain other shows. You get the blue lens and the red lens glasses, and then at the right moment you will put it on.
Yeah, that's when
and they'll do like
was. Yeah, that's when 3D. That was when 3D was a real cheap gimmick. Like,
right.
Really good. Johnny Blaze wants to know: is it PC or is it an app? No, it's for the piece, the PC.
Yeah.
But it works in conjunction with your VR, with whatever VR headset you have. So if you have like an Oculus, or you have any of the other ones all you have to do is have your headset connected to your PC in some way, either via a connection link or through like a virtual desktop app or something like that, and you should be good to go. It's fantastic. I mean,
smell-o-vision. Yeah.
Smell-o-vision. And smell-o-vision, I wouldn't be surprised to see it become a mainstream VR thing. And I also wouldn't be surprised to see the food thing eventually too, because we really
well, yeah, I mean, imagine if it was just like some non-toxic bland food you ate, and then they do the smell-o-vision portion. You're basically eating what you smell.
Toxin says, say less. Ordering my MetaQuest now. Oh yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it, Toxin. You'll be able to do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you'll have your your virtual brothel is just a day or so away. Oh my God.
Hey, get the Quest 3, guys. It's better than the 2.
For the pass-through. Get the Quest 3 for the pass-through feature alone.
Hey, I'm telling you, because you map out your room, it can mark your furniture, your doors, all that. And then they actually have games that go off of that. So you map out your whole house, and you can play like a Call of Duty zombie thing where they're trying to bust through the windows. It's great.
It's beautiful, man.
It's great.
Beautiful. Darth Plato says, too much realism can be dangerous, though. Star Trek holodecks will end all dating. Listen, Darth Plato, dating is already over. I don't know if you've noticed, but all these women now are on OnlyFans. They sell their dating sensibilities. They don't date anymore. It's a money making opportunity. That's what it is. I mean, you know what? As far as like the whole holodeck thing, that's a good way to look at VR.
A little darker on to his point. I was in this game called Echo VR, and it reminded me of I forgot the movie, but it was based on the young boy who Ender's Game. It was kind of like
really
the Ender's Game, right?
Wow.
And it was great, and it's called I believe Echo VR. I don't know if it's still on there or still active or not. I think they shut it down. The problem, like I said, is that in the game, you know, you can grab on the people, and it had crazy, you know, gravity, physics, and realism. I heard a girl's voice, and then all the freaking little kid pervs just started attaching to him, her and getting in her face, and really disturbing because, you know, now you're in it, even though it's a game, it's not a game at the same time, because virtual reality should be treated, you know, when you're multiplaying, like, you know, it's like real world standards.
Oh yeah,
if you get me right, you know,
I agree.
If you're in the real world, you wouldn't be looking under some person's dress or something like that.
It wouldn't be
and it's the
people.
same thing, and I believe the same etiquette should apply.
I agree.
It was disgusting, and there was no way to stop it unless they just completely they were the ones
probably why
probably
why they stopped it altogether.
I have no idea, you know, but they're going to have to start putting like protocols in there so that people can't, you know, I don't know. They're going to have to figure something out with these spaces.
So that people cannot virtually violate other people.
And here's the weird as it sounds.
Here's the thing I don't understand. Here's the thing about that I don't understand. Okay, we know virtual brothels are a thing. We know virtual, you know, is a huge industry. You know, the adult entertainment industry has their hands in it too. So it's huge. So you don't necessarily need to go around, you know, groping people in multiplayer environments. I don't understand what's wrong with people. It's ridiculous.
I have no idea. You know, and to the average person who's never experienced VR, they'll probably go, you know, that sounds stupid. But when you have that piece of hardware over your eyes and you got a whole new sensory, you're literally in a whole different world. And it's just like real life, you know.
This is hilarious. I wore my Quest 3 to a Starbucks. No one said anything. I wouldn't, you know, it's funny. I wouldn't expect anybody to say anything.
I wouldn't say anything. Why?
Because here's the thing. Nobody talks to anybody these days. There is no more, you know, etiquette of like speak. Everybody is in their own world anyway. That's why I feel like virtual reality is where most people are going to choose to live at a certain point, because you can have anything you want in VR and you don't have to be bothered by the outside world. So I really wouldn't expect anybody to bother you. You could walk around, you could be on the bus wearing your Quest 3 or whatever. You could be on a plane, you could be anywhere, and I don't think anybody would say anything to you. I'd actually be surprised if somebody approached you, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's cool is you got pass-through, so you can still be observant.
Exactly. The pass-through option. Exactly. You're wherever you are, you can still be aware of your surroundings, which I think that makes it brilliant.
That's a game changer.
Okay, and Ritual Dello says VR, in my mind, has a huge benefit for special needs individuals or disabled people can get the sensory appeal and experience things around the world.
I like to talk on that.
Yeah.
So there was a couple ones that I've seen. One was apparently people who didn't have, excuse me, I'm trying to get my words for them, depth perception.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently VR does something for them. So they don't have it in the real world, obviously, you know, their eyes, but when they put on that headset and they do whatever tinkering they do, they can see depth.
You know what that means to me? Yeah. To me, what that means is
Star Trek.
It's another layer of reality. It essentially is a different reality when you put that headset on.
And then there was one where people had like amputation. So they would get a dummy hand VR set, and then they would have like people, you know, touching them or whatever, like in the VR at the same time, like it was happening in the VR. And somehow, long story short, they can feel or people who didn't have the legs and they were moving around dancing. They could dance. It was interesting how it messed with their heads enough that they could feel again. You got to look it up, man. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that sounds fascinating.
And another one was the one for I don't know what the condition is, like if it was autism or something like that. But during it, I had the headset on, and they would put you in a position where you're at a bar, and then they were going through like an episode. So the water would start dropping. Then the next thing you know, the patterns on the wall started moving, and it put you through this whole scenario of basically their own panic attacks of how the reality started warping around them. And it was wild.
Did you try the one? Did you try the one that was solitary confinement?
No.
Where they put you in like the hole, like where they put people in prison who misbehave, and they put them in that. And I saw the option to try it on there, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to experience it. I was like, no, I didn't want to experience that sensory deprivation.
Yeah,
because there was even a warning prior to the app starting that it will basically mess with your mind. You will think that time has passed. A certain amount of time has passed when essentially it hasn't. But because you're limited to how long you can be in that environment.
It's taken them about 15 years. I don't know the name of the game, but I had it on my original developer kit. Now I just saw it where they're wish listing it on Steam, and it puts you through all your phobias.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so large snakes,
or like spiders, the one, or like you're in, or the the monsters under the bed kind of a thing.
Right? Yeah, and it'll go through all the phobia stuff. Walking on the beam.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. The ghost stuff, everything.
I mean, that'd be horrifying. The fear of spiders. So you're sitting there,
it sucks, man, because you
spiders and
you can't move, and they're like you see little spider crawl up your arm,
and it will play. It will play with your mind.
Yeah,
it'll play with you psychologically, whether you can feel it or not.
Yeah,
but your mind is powerful enough to where if you are in there and you believe it, you will feel these things crawling up your body.
It was that one with the roller coasters. I was like, man, those are stupid fake reactions. You're on roller coasters and people were losing their footing. Man, I was doing the roller coaster thing. I stood up, my legs buckled. I fell over, almost hit the banister. I was like, son of a bitch. Some of
the roller coaster I've tried. I've tried the roller coaster ones, and some of them are okay. Some of them are actually pretty decent for being VR and not, but I kind of feel like roller coasters in VR is kind of a stupid gimmick because you're not getting the sensations. It's just sort of, you have to kind of, although I do think the ones where you like walk the plank or you have to avoid, those are scary because you have like
up during the roller coaster ones. Try standing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll try standing.
Yeah, try standing.
I was sitting during the roller
because I was sitting. I was like, man, this ain't nothing. I stood up.
Oh my God. I don't know. But have you tried the one where you walk the plank?
That one sucks. No.
and you look down and you're like, what? Oh my God, what am I looking at?
And then what you can do is if you could set it up right, have like a real beam that you kind of walk onto. And that's what they do for a lot of these places. They'll have like a foam beam and then you will emulate and walk on it. So that if you do fall, you fall like a couple, inches.
That's not far off, console fanboy. And there are tons of products that you can
sync with the VR
that will sync with the VR that will allow you to do that. You can do that if you want to. I've seen seen some of these products. It's insane to me. What's up, Brogu? Good to see you, man. Tinder ruined dating. Well, Tinder is all bots now anyway. I think
Yeah.
there was like a report that came out that they said that the app is like 90% bots now. It's not even real anymore.
And they're gonna start using AI to F with you now.
Oh, it's gonna be even worse.
Yeah.
Because it was bots. It's been bots for a while, so it's just gonna get worse.
Long gone the days of Black Planet.
Yeah, we are, but I think we're at a point where I think VR will get, along with augmented reality, we'll get to the point where, it'll just become a part of everyday life. It'll become it'll get more mainstream. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna come standard with all your glasses, like these Facebook, like
especially the point you made about how it's giving people that have those vision problems the ability, when they put the VR on, they don't have those problems. So it's sort of,
well, the newer lenses, they're cheaper, and they can use the AI and then tell you what you're seeing, because people, they have those $1,000 devices for the blind where they gotta, it tells them what they're looking at. Now they're gonna have a couple $100 glasses that can do something similar, so it's bound to happen. It's gonna be standard.
The patient is exposed directly to the fear inducing stimuli, while at the same time employing relaxation techniques designed to lower levels of anxiety. Therapists use VR for clients too. That's pretty cool. I could see it being used, because I heard about how they have doctors, performing surgery in VR in virtual reality, settings and things like that to try and practice and stuff like that. So
one of the original VR apps was it capitalized on the peekaboo effect, with like young children, right? When they do peekaboo, they really think you're gone for a moment. So in the VR one, you're looking at a table with flowers. You turn ever so slightly where it just leaves your field of vision just briefly, and you turn back, it will like move like an inch. And then every time you would do it, eventually you start going to like a whole different world, and it's trippy.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool too. Like I'm more excited for it now than I ever was. I think all it takes for somebody to become invested in this technology is for it to feature something that is important to the person.
Exactly.
To the potential buyer. That's all that's needed. I mean, honestly, because I hadn't been really using my Quest 2 for all that much. And that's why I decided to try this arcade thing, and I was amazed at how great
they're doing like live sports castings now,
Yeah, I did.
Put on your device and watch them.
I went to a live concert
in
VR once too, and I thought that was pretty
cool. Be at an NBA
well.
game, go look at the Super Bowl halftime in VR. It's a thing. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the biggest driver of innovation in technology. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's happening.
100%. 100%. The adult entertainment industry drives all new technology. It's always been that way. That's just a fact.
You're gonna have Tibetan monks with VR devices up there and freaking the mountains. It's gonna happen.
That's all they need.
It's gonna
That's
happen,
all they need is their VR headsets.
They ain't sinning.
The Matrix is real. I mean, come on. I mean, what are we looking at? I mean, it's just sort of, but all of this, it just goes to show you how small, for example, the home arcade community is, because, everybody's complaining about their cabinets, about what they like about it, what they don't like about it, what's coming out, what's not coming out. I mean, to me, the hobby as a whole, I feel like at a certain point, everybody that wants these cabinets everybody's got the ones that they want.
Yeah.
So they're
It's
kind
gonna
of limited. Yeah, they're kind of limited into who they can market to. You can't keep marketing to the same people over and over again, because I mean, how many times can we buy Pac-Man? How many times can we buy Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? It's
the point I made before. You're right. How many times can we buy it? But that's the point, right? If I was a company and I know I already hit my peak with you, you're not part of my marketing.
right.
It's
right.
And this is why
you're seeing
who wants to put it in their damn dorms.
Well, this is why you're seeing, goofy things like claw machines and, because they know they have to kind of diversify their marketing a little bit more, because.
Well, it's like where you see where Arcade 1-Up was at Disney, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll see the comments. They'll be like, this is not the demographic that's going to buy it. I'm like, well, you know what? But they're the demographic who can afford it. If you guys are complaining about $30 devices and can't afford it, maybe the person who could afford Disney tickets can get it. It's just the truth. It's a hard truth.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's gatekeeping, and they think for some reason, because you're older, you don't have a right to play the game more than somebody else. Other people can enjoy it, and if my Pac-Man PCB, can be a 2026 version instead of a 1970 version, then I'll probably go, with the newer version.
What's your view on the video game industry headed towards all digital and pushing all digital in the way that they all are? Like Ubisoft, the president of Ubisoft came out the other day and said that he wants customers to get used to the idea of not actually owning their games. What do you think about
that? Okay, see, it's twofold. I appreciate digital for obvious reasons.
Right.
It's so convenient. I mean, I don't remember the last time I bought a CD. But the problem is, let's get into the technicality. Like I played Destiny 2. It's a 10-year game. The game is so large that they have stuff that is vaulted longer than it's been out, and vaulted meaning that they put content away because the game got so large and they just couldn't handle all that processing. And my point is, if you were to buy half of these CDs for a lot of the larger games, none of the stuff is on there anyways. Nothing comes out the box.
Exactly.
You got to play online anyways. So a lot of your big banger games aren't offline straight from the disc games. You got to go online, get the day one downloads, the updates. It's just a thing. It's like at games right now, right? They got that pinball. That pinball ain't working. It ain't working. And I can tell you it's not working because it requires a day one download.
Yeah.
It has to be, that's expected, right? So that's digital.
And it's like all the people that got suckered into buying that Arcade 1-Up Casino-cade. If you're not online, if you don't have an online connection,
yeah, I didn't know that. See, that's a scam.
That Casino-cade is bullshit. Useless to you.
I had no idea that was the case. If that's true, then that's bull.
It's true, 100%. If that's not connected to the internet, guess what? You cannot play it. It's a $500 paperweight. That's what it is.
That's fucked up, man.
Oh my God.
See that, and that's what I'm getting at. First off, for most people, where do you never have the internet, right? But at the same token, I get it. When my grandmother, lived during the whole recession bit, I go to her house, I buy her new dishwashing soap. She's got but next day I come, it's all diluted with water. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just use the soap. But, penny pinching. because that's how they're used to, and that's how a lot of people feel that weren't well off when they were, you know, younger. So they have this compulsive need where they have to have the physical because they're scared that they're going to lose it, you know.
But these generations that are coming up now are not going to have nostalgia for that because
like
they're in an all digital world.
You know how long it took my dad to get rid of VHS? Like he was stubborn about it, you know, and then he finally upgraded to the CD. You know, I'm like, good Lord, man, you know. And you know, we went to Blu-ray, and now look at Blu-ray. Who buys Blu-rays anymore? Do you?
Well, apparently Best Buy doesn't think anybody does because they're going to stop selling. They're about to stop selling that stuff. Apparently, as of February, they're not going to be in Best Buy anymore.
When's the last time you bought a movie physically?
Not too long ago, actually. There were a couple movies that came out. A couple movies that came out last year.
Did you buy for CD or Blu-ray?
It was Blu-ray.
Okay.
Oppenheimer and a couple Fist of the North Star.
Okay,
that I wanted.
Oh yeah, I get that. But see, like right now, right? A lot of those options that you just said, I can go on YouTube right now, go on my Google account, Google Play, download it, and then play it on my YouTube.
Oh yeah, of course.
And my point is, you can get them probably the same price, you know, same bit. But the fact that you had to go, man, last year, you know.
Yeah, last year.
It used to be a thing where you would stack them, man.
Right.
You would have.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that I don't buy that much anymore. But I do.
Back in the day.
But I do. But back then,
more, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, see, the medium has changed. Do you think you own more digital than you do physical?
I don't know. I got a pretty sizable physical collection. I don't know if I would. I don't know. That's a tough one.
In the last 5 years, do you think you bought more digital or physical?
I'd say it's about even because with my digital,
right?
A lot of times when you buy a movie, particularly,
they come with
digital copy that it comes with, and you add that to whatever service you're using. And that way you have access to it digitally and physically.
Right.
And those are the ones that I like, you know, because that gives you a physical disc that has the whole movie on it. Unlike games where modern games now are just essentially constant DLC. You know, they never sell you a whole game anymore. And I think that's the purpose of it. They know that you got to be connected to the internet. So the thing is, you're getting half a game, if you buy it, because it's going to have so many updates that it's going to be so different from whatever the original game is. It's going to be interesting to see years from now, right? What's actually on these discs when you don't have servers to connect to.
From what I understand, for a lot of these games, they're just it's literally the CD turns on to spin just to make sure you own the license to the game, and that's it.
All it is
anything is just burning and ruining your CD drive because it ain't reading memory to play it because it's already loaded digitally.
You know, I've noticed. I did an experiment once with my PS4 where I had a CD copy of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the CD game installed, you know, to try and run it off of the thing. And then later on there was like a super sale where the digital version of the same game was like $4.
Right.
So I purchased it digitally, and it took almost as long to download the digital version as it did for the physical copy.
And you know why?
That proved your point.
Because it's not taking it from the CD
right now. It's not taking it from the CD. It's getting it data from the server.
Right.
You're 100% right. The disc is just a license.
Correct.
That's all it is. It has a small file on it that's basically saying you purchased this game, so now you have access. we're going to unlock the server so that you can get this information.
That's all
and
it
have
is.
access to it. And that's all it is. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's not burning from the CD at all.
There's nothing on the CD. And that's like,
it's rare.
People are just, it's just kind of, it's like whether people want to admit it or not, physical died a while ago because because there's nothing on those discs.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for all the games. I know that, guys. But for your larger titles, Grand Theft Auto or whatnot, MMOs, it's a thing. But yes, there are some games that are on the CD. It's not for 100%.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. There's so many services now. That's the other problem with digital. Everything is a subscription service. They want to get you to a point where they don't even want you to buy. They want to get us all to a point where we don't even buy movies or TV shows digitally either, where we're all just subscribed to services so that they can keep gouging us from month to month. That's what the whole idea is. That's what the end game is, to eventually get to a point where, so you get rid of all those digital storefronts and you only have the services that you pay monthly for. And then they can charge you whatever they want to charge you because that's your only option.
I mean, because unless you're playing like an indie style game, like on the Switch, that are modeled for those that push the power of these little physical cartridges, if you're going for these larger, AAA title style games like a Red Dead Redemption 2, you're never going to just have some full, offline experience, with the future games. You know what I mean? It's getting to a point where you're going to have to be online to at least get the data, to get all of it. When's the last time you bought a disc and it came with like 4 discs?
Yeah,
to install everything.
That never happens.
That
never happens anymore.
It's been quite a while, right?
But I, it's like it makes me wonder, like, what's the benefit of tracking down a modern game physically anymore? Like for the older games, it's cool. For anything like, PS2 or earlier, you're going to get your full game. You're going to have, if you get a physical copy, you benefit from that. But as you get, further and further along, and I know not all games, are like that. There are some games that do have the full game. But like you said, the larger, more involved games are always going to have to connect, always going to have to phone home, always going to have to give you, much like the iArcade, phone home to make sure that there is a license for you to continue to play those games.
And it's to get the demographic, it's to get intel, it's to get it's to spy. How long does this guy, named ZodWriter, who's this age and this demographic, play this game? And when you get all the full picture of millions of people, who plays what and who watches what and who's up at what time, and it's so valuable, what they can do with this intel.
Yeah, I'm amazed every time I go. I'm amazed every time I go on Steam. Steam has a curated list of stuff that I'm interested in playing, and it knows me. These algorithms know us better than we know ourselves. That's what it is. It's scary.
And then exactly. And you just said it, the algorithms. So then what are they? How are they making their money? Ads. And whatnot. Just like when I was looking at the whole Sony stuff. Sony doesn't make their games, or doesn't make their money with the games. They're making their money through your digital purchases of music, the movies, by using their multi-platform service. It's not all just games that they're making money off of.
Yeah.
They sell their hardware at a loss to you so they can make more money when you log in through their service, through their subscriptions and everything else.
Wow, look at your year and Steam stats. They know what you do every second you log on or play. Yeah,
Bam.
yeah, yeah. I think Steam is very intrusive. They know exactly. They know everything.
At least they're being transparent about it.
Well, yeah, yeah. Unlike some people,
Right.
which
Bob says shower time. He
off
wants you
the
guys to
cuff,
shower.
literally sheds light on those kinds of shenanigans. If you're going to screw people, at least be honest about the fact that you're screwing people, because people expect to get screwed by these companies to some degree. It's almost like, and I don't know, MeSiah, how you view it, but I kind of feel like it's almost like it's all a scam, and you just have to choose how you get scammed when it comes to these companies. It's almost like it's not that you're it's almost like, is it a I'm trying to think of the way to say it. Is it a willing, are you a willing participant? Are you willing to get screwed by this company in exchange for X, Y, or Z? And you'll find that acceptable? Or is it, they're going behind your back because they're being sneaky and they don't want to get consent from the customer? And that's the thing.
Absolutely.
I'm struggling with. Like,
you're spot on.
Why be sneaky about it? I mean, it's clear what you're trying to do.
You're spot on. When I was in the service, I would tell my troops, I mean, it's a game, but are you a pawn if you know you're a pawn? Even a pawn could be the most powerful piece on the chessboard. So you just got to play it right, and it's a willingness. We know we're being used just as much as we're using them. It's a quid pro quo,
right?
But at the same time, I think my aggravation comes from not necessarily always the company, but the folks that will defend the company based upon the fact that they know that they made a poor purchase, just to justify their poor purchase by arguing, just to argue.
Oh, you mean like the iArcadians,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, hey, you're being ripped off. Well, I'd rather be ripped off than blah blah blah. Like, are you crazy? Like, no. Like, you don't have to take this.
It's all about, it's like the iArcade is the future. And 6 months later, he's got his iArcade up on Marketplace.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Hypocrites.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. You're gonna put all your eggs in something that is shady, but you have to psychologically justify it to yourself. You have to be. That's what people do. They feel the need to justify these purchases to themselves. That's what it is, and because of that, that's why they get so vehemently angry, because they know they got screwed. They got ripped off.
It's like they have to announce to the world, I'm not stupid. Well,
yeah,
it's okay, if you accept the fact you got ripped off, but you do become stupid when you don't acknowledge it. Like, just acknowledge, you're probably not that happy.
No, Kevin, I'm talking specifically about the iArcadians, the group that had a YouTube show of guys that were essentially shilling for the iArcade on astronomical levels, to the point where at one point I had a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, who had come to me and was like, I'm thinking about getting into home arcades, and I saw a couple of these things on the iArcade, and the iArcade looks cool because it's a multicade, and he liked the idea of the fact that it was a multicade that had a online store where you could purchase games. So you were legitimately supporting developers and that kind of thing. And that's what he was attracted to, and the fact that it had a lot of indie games. But here's the thing. He watched a video from it was either the iArcadians or it was Papa Brad specifically from Papa Brad's Gaming, because he mentioned Papa Brad to me. And he said, you know, when I saw that Papa Brad guy and I heard the way he was talking with his buddies about this iArcade, I watched one video and he said, I changed my mind. I'm not going to buy it. And I told him, smart man.
I mean, when I think what gets insulting is when people play you for stupid.
Yeah.
You know, example was a Virtua Fighter. Great game, right? Like when it first came out, right? Especially Virtua Fighter 2. You know, one of the top games of its era, right? You know, at least for me. Cool. But then you got some just some poor indie developed 2019 ColecoVision reboot made crap of like 5 megabytes, and you're like, you know, this is way better than Virtua Fighter 2, you know, at a 12 out of 10. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but you know, you gotta be stupid to think that I'm gonna believe that you even believe that.
Yeah.
You know, because you just want to shill. It was pretty sad and pathetic. Like you take it's bad enough you take me for being an idiot, but you take yourself for being one too.
Right.
If you talk in that way,
there's
come on, man.
There's no self-respect, and it's no like if you don't have any self-respect, how do you expect other people to respect you?
You know, I mean, and if you're going to say stuff like that, have an educated opinion on why you believe something is better than something.
I think the line that he said, that the line that Papa Brad said that put my friend off was, people buy something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing here, people buy arcade 1-ups because of the way they look, and they buy an iArcade if they actually want to play games.
They buy it the way it looks because they buy the game that was great.
Right.
That's why they buy one, because iArcade or Arcade 1-Up only has so many licenses, and the ones that they have are way better than the ones that we got on the iArcade.
That's right. The iArcade never got.
Where's my Street Fighter 2? Where's my Pac-Man?
The only people that got the Street Fighter 2 and the Pac-Man were the people that were kissing up to Jong the whole
right,
time.
and they got
they got all that stuff. They got all that stuff
for free. Mortal Kombat 1, all of it
side loaded for free.
Right.
But hey, I mean, it is what it is. Council Fanboy says, Zod, it's an attachment disorder. When you make fun of the iArcadians and their toys, they cannot handle any negative feedback. Well, yeah, that's true. That's exactly true. And and for me, for the most part, when it came to them, I just didn't watch, didn't watch their content, because when you're shilling on that level, it's very unhealthy. It's almost like it's an obsession, and you're trying to get other people to get sucked into the obsession, and it's like a vortex of just shilling and just narcissism, and just I don't. But again, it's definitely a disorder. I agree.
For your viewers, if they don't know my origin story, my channel exists because of them. Actually,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about that, about how your channel exists because of the iArcadians?
All right, so I like to consider myself a good researcher and things, and but believe it or not, I didn't even know about Arcade 1-Up, all that.
Hey man, Mama Bear.
One of my first arcades was from a pawn shop with like a Pi in it. I think it was like a Pi 2 or 3 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And then I saw the iArcade through its viral feeds. It wasn't because of those other YouTubers at all. It was just like when I Facebooked it or Googled it, popped up, and I'm like, oh man, you know, this looks pretty cool. Joined the group. John wasn't even in the group. I was like one of the first like 50 in the group. Stayed in the group. Waited about a year while it was going on. Saw some fanaticism, but I was like, you know, let me still ask the questions and dig. Had a good vibe to the group. It went down to $2.99 after the Kickstarter sale. Went in and jumped on it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It had like, you know, some classics. I was hoping for more, obviously. So it was pretty cool. My wife was enjoying it.
Those buttons and sticks are really great,
yeah,
dude.
Like,
I'm telling you.
We were playing
my God.
And, you know, I started shilling for it. I'm like, you know, thanks, John, for bringing my family, you know, together with the stuff. Because it felt like the old Nintendo days. I had my whole family playing on the arcade. Showed off my kids playing it, all of it. So then I got hit up with messages from arcade and like, hey, we like your stuff. And would you like to become an insider program? And long story short, we'll pretty much give you any demo you want or any game you want. Just let us know which one. And it don't even have to be a good video. You can just do it on your phone. I'm like, I'm in. Somebody must have picked up on that. And his name was, oh God, I don't even want to mention the fat ass. But either way, it was one of those jokers, right? So then I wasn't paying them no mind. I was starting to get popularity in the group as far as, you know, respect. Because when I would comment, I'll get more attention, comments. And you could tell that I was getting to that person. Never spoke to them. They would try to like comment under my stuff, ignored them. Acted like they didn't exist. So then Bill McLaughlin, you know, the guy I worked for.
Yes, old man Ruckus himself.
He had an exchange and I was having a respectful exchange. And one of them pieces of shit lied and ran to John and banned me and then said to John that I was saying some bullshit about Bill or whatever. Complete fictional bullshit made up story. So I sent John the whole thread. I'm like, what? Show me, like, what's going on here? Oh, I don't know, my friend. This must be a big misunderstanding. I'm like, no, you have a piece of shit that doesn't work for the company and he's abusing his authority because he's just a jealous asshole and he knows what's up. And he's like, I get back into the group and he does some bullshit again. And the first 2 times I threatened to email the company. I'm going to email the company about what you're doing. Boom, kicks me again. And I'm like, John, like, what the fuck, John? Like, he did it again. Your employee's out of freaking line. What did I do in the group or said in the group, especially if I'm demoing and shilling for the freaking company? What did I do wrong?
Right.
Never would respond to me. My whole world's lost now. You know, like, I had the arcade. I'm sad. And it's like, yo, that's fucked up, right? Because, you know, John's supposed to be everyone's friend, right?
Right, everyone's friend.
So it was like
happy juice is flown.
Right. So like 2 weeks later, some other dude hit me up and was like, hey man, where you been? I'm like, I got kicked out the group because of this freaking piece of shit, you know, who thinks he's top shit. Because this fucker started sending me like long messages, like audio messages. Like, just,
oh my God.
Yeah, like, fuck off. Like, I don't like you. I'm not talking to you, right? And so I joined their group. And the whole group was people, it was an anti-rainwater group. The whole group. It was everybody he kicked out. The whole group. So you had 100+ people who were like, this is the biggest fucking piece of shit on the planet.
Wow.
And that's when, you know, other folks started coming in the group and realizing, oh crap, we thought you guys were just a, you know, bullshit hate group, but we see that it's one person.
A hate group. Isn't it fun? Yeah. Isn't it funny?
It's buzzwords.
How it always gets.
Yeah, it's buzzwords.
How the labeling always. Right. They always do that. It's always extreme. It's a hate.
It's
group.
extreme.
Like, What?
Extremists. Like, what's their like? What are you talking about? We hate you? Yes. You as a person, I do not like. You know, drown in a ditch. I don't care. But as far as my product, my arcade, it's just fine. It's a great product.
Right.
You know, I've never.
It's a great product. And these
you know what's
buttons and
crazy?
sticks can't be beat.
And you know what's crazy? Show me anywhere in the last 3 years where I talk bad about iArcade as a product.
You really can't as a product. I mean, it's a very well made machine.
Right.
And like I said, I'm thankful that I have mine. I like the games that are on it. I could mod it if I want to. I don't know if I will. It's a good machine. It's still nice to play. So what the company did was,
So then we started. So somebody must have really not liked John.
Right.
Because it was a guy named, I'm just going to name drop. You mind?
I don't
All
care.
right, cool. So it was a guy named Pablo.
Okay.
And what's interesting about Pablo, I don't think he ever owned an iArcade. Because he's a Korean South American. It was an interesting mix. And so he was like both worlds. And I'm like, I think this is somebody that Jong burned over. Because out of the blue, he finds Jong's been arrested. And I'm like, the fuck? So then we learned about Hoppy. We learned about his Kickstarter, Hoppy, and then how that went down. And then we found out that he was actually arrested because of the incident from Hoppy, which was a beer company that he tried to start up. And what he did was, while he was the allegedly, everything that I say, guys, is allegedly, okay? What he did was he became the VP of marketing or whatever for LG Electronics. And he stole the plans for their new beer making machine. And he was testing it around Korea, and that got some awards. And then he went and started to make a company in America. And in all these different news reports, it covers his whole scheme. They even like reveal some of his Telegram messages. He made the news. He got arrested. He got fined. And I'm like, this guy's a piece of shit scum. And then he took all the money from the other Kickstarter that made millions, tens of millions, and he got to keep it all. He's a millionaire. Do you think he gave it all back? No. Because you still have the people on the thing cussing him out. Saying that he's starting another. So on the Kickstarter, on the Hoppy Kickstarter, if you go to the comments, you'll see him go, oh, we could see he's starting another scam. And that was the iArcade. So back a couple of years, you'll see me say, I think his scam, as crazy as it sounds, is to actually make a legitimate business, but purposely run it into the ground. And people go, well, how would you do that? I'm like, easy. You just don't pay your taxes and whatever. And then as a company, your company goes bankrupt, but as an employee, you keep all the money.
Wow.
And guess what happened, right? Like clockwork.
As we know.
That we found out that for 3 years, he never paid any of his taxes. It was all in red. And then the fanaticism was, you would post, I posted the facts. Like, here's the .gov. I paid the money. I got the Pacer account. He's in the red, guys. By this, last year, August, he's going to be, his LLC is going to get dissolved by law because you can't pay for 3 years. These motherfuckers will go, well, it says July 1st. Today's July 2nd. It could be good now. Like, you got to be the dumbest motherfuckers. Like,
$9.99 super chat from
I'm not going to pay another
here.
$25 to prove that he ain't paying his taxes. Shut up.
He says, I made a reaction video on Brad's Moon Patrol review, and he false copyright striked me for having a negative opinion. iArcadians cannot accept any negative feedback. Attachment disorders abound. Well, thank you. I agree with you 100% on that. I don't think that the iArcadians were healthy for iArcade as a business.
So then a couple Bash employees ended up taking over for the iArcade zone, and they worked under John. Then they started to attack Bash as a company and the arcade zone because they were no longer the main shills for the company, but Bash was being the paid employees. So then that's when you would see them start to attack Bash and all their products. And of course, I have everything archived from where they're basically sucking Bash's dick, going, this is the greatest bowling game since sliced bread, and da 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 da. And then when they lose their spot, it's they suck, and it's the worst game in existence. It's how they do.
No, I think that bowling game's pretty fun. To be honest, I enjoyed it.
Well, for me, it sucked at the time, and
at first it sucked, but then
why it got fixed? Because of the group, the hater group. Bill joined the group, and we gave him constructive criticism, and he took it, he fixed it to the point where we were praising his praises in the group. Mind you, this group is supposed to be the hater group, right? There was a guy named Miami Cuddles who ended up being one of the
yeah.
This is how much that the group was supporting the iArcade as a whole, because they're supporting one of their top developers, right? He goes, "What is this, a Bash shill group? I'm out." Why are you in the hate group? You're an iArcade and you're in the hate group, and then you're so upset that we're praising the praise of a iArcade game, and then you're calling us a shill group now. You can't have it both ways. It was weird. It was
Kevin Clausen, this question is for you. Kevin Clausen wants to know, was the iArcade designed to phone home and invalidate the licenses on the games, meaning the games I bought are now broken, or was someone in the Facebook group trolling and making that up?
No, nobody was trolling and making that up. What are you talking about? You probably got misinformation from the iArcadian jerk-offs that made shit up. It was on my last stream. I don't know if you were in it, Clausen. I run iArcade Modders, and Michael D. Salvo runs the iArcadian community. Those folks had actually lost their licenses. There was 3 folks, documented folks. When that occurred, I made it clear on my show why I was given the contracts for iArcade. You were there, Zod, that you pretty much were a witness that I did receive pretty much 100% of all contracts of almost every game for the arcade, right?
Oh yeah, you did a deep dive. That was like a 6-hour stream.
So I had the contracts, right? So the whole point, it's not like I just magically got them. The whole point was he wanted me to deep dive in real time to see if it was a possibility that the case. So the fact finding was, yes, the licenses expired to purchase new games. Now, we had our own opinions based on it, but no one ever said that was the sole reason. There's many reasons. What's his name? Mystery Encoder came on the stream.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you hear me refute anything that Mystery said?
He wasn't there. He says later he was at work and missed the stream.
Yeah. So Mystery Encoder came on the stream, and then Mystery Encoder said, "I believe it was a bug that occurred," but he said either rate, what occurred was he believed that it was a bug, but he said either rate, from it being a licensing time issue, a bug. He said that regardless, John and Michael suck at making their code, and it was buggy as hell. Now, as far as the first guy that reported it, this guy named Chad, where you see 2 of the pictures of the missing license, apparently it was 100% of all his games that got the license error. Mr. Encoder reached out to Ryan, aka Honky Kong, one of the great developers. You might know him from Hilo X and MSVX.
Ah, yes.
And he worked with Chad, and he put out a fix. And you can go on the IRK community and you'll see Chad go, I'm not a rocket scientist. All I know is I click the button and it works. He has to employ the fix every single time that he wants the game to work.
Now, which title is this?
For his, it's all of them.
Wow.
So, I don't.
So what
no
the hell happened there? Because
right. And then for the other one, there was another guy who had it. Apparently he sold it. And the guy he sold it to, that's the rat piss and shit story. So I argued with that guy. I was like, look, man, I don't give a fuck what you say. No amount of rat piss and shit is going to fry the boards enough that it's going to show it saying, you know, a license error, you know.
Right.
But so we tried to deep dive and do a quick fact check. And by doing that, Michael D. Sabo, the head community admin for and we worked with each other. About a week in, he was able to get the battery to die on his iArcade to revert it back to 2013. And when he did, no games were broken. They were all working. So we were not able to replicate what the hell is going on with a couple of people's iArcades.
So maybe it's something with the boards in those particular units. I don't know.
We have no clue.
That's crazy.
But we do know the ones that were not working. The fix was he had Ryan trick the games to believing they were one of the preloaded games. So like I guess Double Dragon like one was considered preloaded, right? So he fixed whatever code was in that as a global thing. So when he hit the button, it just did the fix on all of them. So when it works, and that's it. So why it happened to just those few, we don't know.
Now have you personally experienced any issues with your IRK?
All my games work.
Me either. All my games work.
Because
it's funny. I checked the IRK. I turned the IRK on after your stream just to make sure that all the games still played, and they do. They all play fine. So
what is he saying? I don't get it. So I actually don't like, man. I pretended to enjoy them because of who said that?
Okay, that's Brooklyn Menace. He's saying, so I actually didn't like my 2 iArcades that I play every day. I'm pretending to enjoy them because I bought it. Wouldn't that theory apply to every home arcade that anybody purchased?
But who said that to begin with? Is that part of any conversation? Or he's just replying to somebody in the chat?
I don't know. I'm not
sure. I don't know. He's adding nothing to the conversation. That's weird. All right.
Earlier. I don't know. But $4.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. Thank you. Zohar says, now Brad is threatening Cornercade for using Brad's voice on his show. Brad needs to read and understand fair use before he threatens anyone. Not right. Wow, that's crazy. But you know what? That's not surprising. That's not surprising to me in the least. At Games is building the Death Star. Well, maybe they are.
Are they? That's crazy.
I
know they're liars. We're about to be into what, February? And how many other than Wagner got their damn pinball? See, that's the crazy thing. We being the folks I'm with noted the fact that the pinball was going to be delayed back in like September or some crazy crap, because the original promise was it was going to be out before the end of December. And I forgot her name. I think it's Arlene. She's the VP for the Brick in Canada, and she officially mentioned that the pinballs were going to be not only delayed for Canada, but for North American shipments as well. Oh, that was a hellstorm. And then just the gaslighting from PK and whatnot, you know, but I guess they don't know that I see what they get told. So they're a mess. in those little secret groups. A complete mess.
Well, that's why there's secret groups.
If you see what that man says, man, how about this? I got more on that guy than I got on John, so leave me alone, PK.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't know. That's some crazy stuff, man. So what do you got? Crazy. So what do you got coming up next, man? When's the next Off the Cuff?
I have no clue, man. It's wherever the wind blows. You know who makes Off the Cuff? Is everybody in this community and anything everybody. The society as a whole makes Off the Cuff. It don't matter if you're Cat Williams or you're the Super Bowl or I want to talk about science or whatever. It's there's no lockdown for me.
Yeah, well, that's why it's off the cuff.
It's off the cuff. You're not gonna put me in no bubble. It's not how I roll. I looked at my analytics. I shifted away from like 80% from the home arcade. It's a lot of other folks now that are most of my viewers according to the analytics. So that's pretty cool. Don't want to be boggled down.
And Console Fanboy wants to know, did you see Brooklyn stream last night, the first 30 minutes? He says he highly encourages you to watch it.
I don't watch their stuff, never do.
All right. Well, you know what, MeSiah, I want to thank you for being here tonight, man. Thank you for being so generous with your time. And because, with all the technical issues that we had earlier tonight, man, thank you so much. This was awesome. It was great having you here. And I'll definitely be seeing you again on Off the Cuff, man. I can't wait.
All right, brother.
Your show is awesome.
All right, thank you. Yours too. Appreciate it.
So thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. And we'll be back with more late night Q&A next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Say goodbye to the racers in the chat named Nix.
Goodbye, Nix.